Standards in transport are really important for wheelchair users so that you know that, for example, whichever taxi comes to the door when you've phoned, that you're going to be able to get your chair in safely and that there'll be space for you inside, that the ramps will work. And it's important, for example, if I'm on the underground and I'm looking for the lift, I know that I'm going to be able to get my chair in safely again. I know, for example, things like ramps will be at a steepness that I can push myself up without needing any help if I'm travelling on my own. And again, with buses, to know that there'll be a space big enough for my chair, that there'll be buttons in the right places for me to be able to reach without having to get out of my chair to press the bell to stop the bus, and basically to make sure that my needs are taken care of and I don't need to think about whether one particular vehicle will be more suitable than another. I just know that they've already been designed to meet my needs.
The reason that users made this request for something like PAS 900 as a wheelchair passport type scheme, it was probably fear during transport, a lack of confidence that all of the measures to protect their welfare were being actually taken. And maybe it was that fear which made them suggest that a passport scheme could be useful by providing the essential information required by the individual as well, to personalise it.
This taxi that we're in has got 3 different features for people with different impairments or disabilities. There's a hearing loop, which obviously benefits communication with the driver for people who are deaf and use a hearing aid. There are these high contrast handles, which mean people with visual impairment can see easily where to grab. And there's a ramp for wheelchair users. And I know that the door is going to be wide enough that I can get my wheelchair in. And then there's space for my wheelchair when I'm on board.
The PAS 900 document will unite all of the skills of those stakeholders involved in the provision of wheelchairs, the prescription of wheelchairs, the supply of wheelchairs, the manufacturers of wheelchairs and the transporters of wheelchairs. Bring them all together, unite all their skills and knowledge into one focal point which will enable qualified people within the transport operators environment to make decisions about how to best secure their wheelchair and restrain the occupant. It's all about the provision of information at the point of transport, and also provides information about the needs of the actual user, the most important part of the whole thing, which is the person in the wheelchair.
I think standards are useful for everybody, but they're useful for manufacturers to know exactly how they have to specify certain dimensions of their vehicles, perhaps the height to step up to get into the vehicle, that kind of thing. And then they're useful for people who provide services to disabled people, so that you know that the customer services people are trained in how to help you, or the kind of help you might need, and the kind of people that they're going to encounter. And then it's useful for me as a user to know that I'll be able to access transport wherever I go.
We feel it's important to have standards right the way across the board. Internationally, we're all moving around a lot more these days. So when people come to different nations, different countries, different businesses, it's important for them to recognise easily what they see and what they do. So, you know, there's a lot of reasons for using graphical symbols, and a lot of reasons that these, in this day and age, need to be internationally recognised. Wherever we're developing symbols, for whatever purpose, we always try to make sure that everybody is included in that design, in the design principles and the way that symbols are created. What we're there for as developers of standards and for graphical symbols and signs is to give other people the tools to use in their workplace, in their environment, wherever it is. The standards are decided through a committee structure, so it's a collaborative exercise. In some cases we do it all ourselves, in other cases it'll be the industry will propose, or a national body like BSI will say, oh, we've got a good standard in this, we'd like this to be developed into an international standard. We publish standards through ISO or BSI and they're available obviously through those organisations and the national standards bodies throughout the world. People look to what's the best practice and if the signs are in an ISO standard, they're looked upon as best practice.